My guest today is Brent Lindeque. Brent, before we get on, what do you call that hairstyle?
It's fashionable.
Is that what you call it? Is that fashionable?
It's cool.
Because I was looking here, I'm feeling a little out of it next to your dress sense there. You're much more casual, much more relaxed. Wonderful.
You know, I try and keep up with the times and sort of what's going on. You call it a top knot. I'm hoping no one tries to cut it off during the interview.
But I tell you, I need you really desperately, and I think your presence today couldn't be more timely. As I arrived here, as I came here from my office, my screen was red, full of falling share prices. Commodity prices are dipping. The economy is shrinking. China is slowing down. You're a man whose aim in life is to spread positive thought and good thinking. What do I tell my clients? How do I get them to think positively?
Look, I don't even want to delve into the economy or what's going on, but definitely on the good news front, I'm slowly turning into this good news guy. And that is my main aim, to spread the good news, to find those stories and to push them out there. And there are so many good news stories.
I know, there are good news stories. The only trouble is that I can't convey them to clients who are losing money. Nevertheless, just tell us more about what you're doing at the moment, your radio show, your websites, and how you got into this. Because you're well known, people love you. I've watched your YouTube, and it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be interviewed by you. I think the first part of it was that neck nomination thing. That was just so ridiculous, going around the world. People were drinking, doing really, really silly things. And it hit South Africa, and I knew that I had to do something different. I could have done what everybody else was doing, but I believe that South Africa has got such a huge portion of our population that are in need, that if just by doing one thing differently and feeding a homeless person, perhaps I could start some sort of trend just within my circle of friends. I never knew it would get as big as it did and go viral around the world.
Did it change your life?
Completely. I have my own radio show now. I've got a website dedicated just to good news, and sometimes I get to do really cool TV shows.
So all of this came from that simple thing. Whatever. What do you call it?
At the time, it was called neck nominations, but we changed it into rack nominations, which is the random acts of kindness. And from that, my whole life changed.
What's your background? Because I did read on your CV that you managed a bar at one stage.
At one stage, and I shudder to think where you got my CV from. Yes, I managed a bar in America, in Florida.
You kidding?
After school, I studied for a bit, and it just didn't really work out for me. So I dropped out of university, and I went to the States for 2 years, where I managed a bar in Boca Raton. Amazing. That was an incredible experience. That said, I knew it was time to come home when I realized that South Africa was where the opportunity was, and where the real business is for me is in South Africa.
I saw a picture of you standing looking at the mountains. I mean, is that are you from the Cape?
No, but
I wonder.
I'm passionately in love with South Africa, and that's all the bits of South Africa. I know that sometimes Johannesburg and Cape Town have got that sort of war going on.
We don't like the Cape Townians.
We don't, but I do, and I try and just show love for the whole of South Africa. I'm a proudly South African guy.
Where were you born? Are you from South?
From Johannesburg. From Johannesburg. I grew up in the south of Johannesburg, so at times I can be quite rough. But yeah, I now live in the north of Johannesburg, out in the Fourways area.
My dad came from the south. He always spoke very proudly of it. To his dying day, he was the president of the Southern Suburbs Cricket Club.
And that's the thing, good people come from the south.
They do. Still, to this day, a lot of people that work for us come from there. So tell us a little bit more about your radio show. Is that your main area of business at the moment?
So I would say that I live 4 different lives in one day.
Okay.
Because I've got my corporate company, which I have, which is events and activations, called Chaos Theory. And that's where I make my money. It's the business of chaos.
You're going to have to explain all this because it doesn't make...
So I called the company Chaos Theory because at the time I didn't know what I know now. But I believe always that one small change can accumulate to many changes, and I like to say I bring order to the chaos of events. So we've got the business, which is Chaos Theory.
So what do you spread? I mean, when you hold an event, What's the theme of the event?
The events are from concept to completion. So the recent company Gibella, we launched them last year.
Okay.
And I do a lot of work for Alstom. We got a couple of...
Oh, these are standard companies.
100%.
Okay.
So we do the events for them. We do the project management of their events and their activations for them. And that's my bread and butter. That's what pays the bills. And then last year,
were you always into that, or did this come?
Always into
oh,
that.
Okay.
That's been my baby for a long time. After May last year, after the Nick nominations had started, Gareth Cliff launched Cliff Central. It was something that I saw as a maverick in the radio side, and I knew that I wanted to be a part of it. So I got hold of him in that month of May. I sat down with him and Rena, and I told them what I wanted to do. I wanted to spread the good news. It was all about bringing good news to that medium. And they let me come on board, and I started my own radio show. It's been over a year now.
So when do you broadcast? When?
Every Tuesday from 10 a.m. till 11. It's only 1 hour a week, but that 1 hour is packed with good news. And that's broadcast on the internet. Anybody can get hold of it. It's all over the place. It's
streamed, do you get callers? Do you get callers coming in?
We get callers. We get people on different mediums, WeChat, Twitter, the internet. So there's a lot of ways to get hold of us. And we've actually just launched our app, which is pretty incredible too.
What's the common theme? What do you find most people talk to you about or address in a country here which is going through a very difficult time? You know, I'm talking more from the economy point of view. Things are not easy. What do they get hold of you for, and what do you say to them?
I would say a majority of South Africans want to help other South Africans. Everybody's in the same boat. The economy is not doing great. There are a lot of people that are battling. There's a lot of people that don't have jobs. So you've got this portion of our society that are battling, but there's a whole other portion of society that want to help. The biggest thing that I find is they generally don't have the platforms to action that help. So I try and marry the two. I try and find charities that make it easy to help or to get hold of those needs. And then citizens, active citizens who want to get involved, I'm able to marry the two. And that's what I try to do.
Between 10 and 11 in the morning, shouldn't you be later on in the evening where people come home, driving home?
The nice thing about Cliff Central...
Play a bit of music.
The nice thing about Cliff Central is that it is a live broadcast, and it's also podcasted.
Okay.
So if you can't catch it between 10 and 11, you can download it. And the downloads on Cliff Central as a platform has been massive. I think to date we've had almost 3.5 million downloads.
Are you closely associated with Gareth Cliff? I mean...
Yes and no. Gareth has got his show every day, so he does his show. But there are 38 shows on Cliff Central that range from the sex show to the laws of life with Gary Hertzberg. So there's so many different different shows that you can catch what you really want.
Are you finding that people are moving towards your type of listening? I'm trying to explain it in an old man's way, which is more streaming rather than the standard radio stations?
Massively. It's massive. In the States at the moment, they actually sell cars with the satellite radio in them. So people are not listening to AM, FM anymore. It is moving to that content-driven. It's the same as our TV. Not many people watch live TV anymore. Everything's downloaded or recorded or streamed, and the radio medium is moving to that.
And you find that your shows therefore have a longer life.
Completely.
And never die. They're always there. They're always here. And your website as well.
Yes.
I would assume that you have a very similar focus there as well.
So on my side, I've got a website called goodthingsguy.com.
I've seen that.
And the goodthingsguy.com is all about good news. And again, that lives forever because people are pulling up stories that were written weeks ago. And they're rereading them and just getting inspiration from them.
So you reckon that this, like YouTube, I believe, will actually take over from normal TV? I see that Google are pushing YouTube in a far bigger way than ever before, challenging the main networks in the United States. So do you think you'll go that route as well? Start
completely.
Good news.
Completely. YouTube. That is my ultimate, is to just share good news and inspire not just South Africans, but people abroad as well. I think it's important. Everybody needs a little bit of inspiration and motivation. There's that saying about bathing every day to stay clean. The same part comes with motivation and inspiration. You need to do the same.
Do you have a personal life? I see you wearing a ring there.
I do. That's one of the, maybe I can look at my life in 5 pieces.
Okay.
But that's one of my 5 pieces as well. I've got my personal life, I've got the business, I've got the radio show, I do a bit of TV, and then it's the writing. I'm writing almost up to 3 articles a day, which is...
3 a day? For where? For publication for your website?
Goodthingsguy.com, yeah.
So tell us a good story.
Good story.
A good South African story that is going to stay here permanently, because I want people to watch the show and I want them to download the show. So we need Brent to help us spread positive news.
Fantastic. There's an amazing gentleman that lives in Somerset West. His name is Andy Loughton. And Andy Loughton decided he was doing a food drive where he was feeding up to 200 people a day. And he decided that as South Africans, he needs to give them their dignity back. So these people were homeless, they were not working, and he wanted to give them a reason to exist. So instead of just handing out the food, he came up with a bartering concept where he would give them a plastic bag in the morning that was numbered, and that plastic bag they had to use to go and get garbage, to go clean up the streets of Somerset West. For 1 bag, he would give them a meal. For 3 bags, he would give them a jersey. For 5 bags, he would give them a blanket. And it's now turned into something that other municipalities are trying to do within South Africa. He started an incredible viral trend. Good news story.
That is. You've just given me a good idea, because I'm a runner. And the one thing that upsets me, I'm passionate about things being clean and clean pavements and so on. And I always worry, and it always concerns me to see the litter on the side of the road. And I've always wondered how we can do it. And it's actually a wonderful idea of how to clean it. My view on South Africa is that once we do the small things, once we get the infrastructure right, like having a clean park, or having roads that work, or robots that operate, people start to feel good, and they're more willing to then contribute to the development of the country. I don't believe in these big noble plans.
Not at all, and that is my belief. It's my belief is change one thing, change everything, because we literally have the power. It's the little things that accumulate to the big things, and that's what excites me.
Brent, we're going to have to cut short. I didn't realize it was going to go so fast, but what I am going to do, when I go running tomorrow morning, I'm going to start carrying a few plastic bags and give them to some chaps to go clean up there. With a promise.
Unbelievable.
It's been wonderful having you. I love the torn jeans. I love the tackies. I love your sense of dress there.
Thank you. Thank you.
I can only wish you good luck, because I think you've got a wonderful concept. You've been on the couch with David Shapiro and Brent Lindeque.